When we talk about high-level play, we always think of great scorers, players who can score the three-pointer at will. But what about the guard dogs that protect the hoop at all cost? All this talk is to introduce Aaron Nesmith, a huge promise of good game for the NBA and probably one of the best picks in the next draft in recent times due to his offense. Do you think we're overreacting? Maybe, but you know us. Anyway, stay until the end because you won't believe the potential this player has wherever he stands on the court. Think of the future, not so far away, just a few months. The NBA is facing some tough times, but don't give up thinking about the youngsters who will land in the league next season. The NBA draft isn't a cultural issue in the United States, a ceremony that became part of our lives and that raises great expectations. Adam Silver's decision to suppress previous training, pre-draft tournaments, and personal interviews with the candidates surely influenced the way each team will choose its players in the draft. The logical thing would be for franchises not to risk for players who haven't seen much in the regular season. Thus, those youngsters who have not gone through the NCAA can be greatly harmed by these measures, while those who already show some experience can be most benefited. In addition, there may also be a tendency to look for strength and consistency in style of play, rather than imaginative players who have not been able to be talked to or seen up close. This complicated scenario favors few players, something different from what happened in the middle of the activity, where many had the possibility to show off. Now we have to review recent videos, statistical spreadsheets, and pay close attention. And once this is done, the first name that appears is that of Aaron Nesmith. Why did this happen? We'll tell you right away, but first we're going to ask you to subscribe to our channel because we already know you're interested in these topics and we don't want you to miss anything. Don't worry, it's just a click. We're waiting for you. Okay, do you want to know how our Aaron Nesmith plays? We will give you some details of his profile and you will see that he is one of the best shooters available at the moment. In his first season at Vanderbilt, Nesmith was important after Darius Garland suffered an end-of-season injury and Simi Sola-Shitu didn't perform well. He started most of his games and averaged 11 points and 5.5 rebounds per game, leading the Commodores in scoring in the conference game. In 2019, he was named Southeastern Conference (SEC) Freshman of the Week after 2 career games. He scored the season opener with 26 points against Florida and scored a 24-point double-double in the season opener with 14 rebounds against Auburn. He then made his sophomore season debut on November 6, 2019, scoring 25 points, including 7 three-pointers, in a victory over the Southeast Missouri State. The following week, he scored a career-high 34 points, scoring 7 triples in an overtime loss to Richmond. Nesmith made 4 straight triples in a span of just 1 minute and 39 seconds. Historic, don't you think? But there's more. On December 6th of the same year, Nesmith was named on the Oscar Robertson Trophy watch list, and on December 21st, he equaled his career record with 34 points and connected with 7 triples in a victory over UNC Wilmington. On January 4th, 2020, he scored 29 points and made 8 three-pointers, the best mark of his career, while his team lost to SMU in overtime. Finally, on January 11th, 2020, it was announced that Nesmith would miss the rest of the season due to a right foot injury he suffered in a loss to Auburn. Who needs a bug in the air if its bad luck is so near? I'm sure Aaron doesn't. In all, in 14 games, Nesmith averaged 23 points and 4.9 rebounds per game, shooting 52.2% from a three-point range. He was the 5th leading scorer in NCAA Division I and averaged the most points from a Vanderbilt player since Tom Hagen in the 1968-69 season. He had come close to having one of the best three-point shooting seasons in college basketball history. But after surgery on January 28th, Nesmith said he could return before the end of the season, but we already know everything that happened after that. Or do you live in a cave? So we already know that this Vanderbilt University wing has several virtues, some defects, and numbers that are amazing, in addition to being a specialist in triples. Nesmith is only 6'4" and weighs 213 pounds, was born on October 16, 1999, and trained in high school basketball in South Carolina, received offers of scholarships from very prestigious universities in sports like Florida and in academia like Harvard, and finally ended up opting for Vanderbilt in the city of Nashville, Tennessee. His first NCAA campaign saw him alternating starting, 19, and substitute, 13, to end up averaging 11 points and 5.5 rebounds. His explosion came in his sophomore year, where in 14 games he averaged 23 points, 4.9 rebounds, and a phenomenal 52% in three-pointers in more than 8 attempts per game. Unfortunately, a foot injury ended his 2019 to 2020 early, and he didn't see any action since early January, which prevented him from facing the strongest opponents in the Commodores' calendar. He only played against Auburn, who was ranked 5th at the time. Do you want to know what his strengths are? Because he has them, and they are not few. Nesmith has good height for either of the two perimeter positions, despite not exceeding 2 meters, and a powerful physique, which seems ready for the day-to-day NBA, at least in relation to his young age. It is clear that his main attraction as a project is his enormous capacity to score baskets. Adding up his 2 NCAA seasons, he averaged 8.1 attempted triples for every 40 minutes on the court, scoring an excellent 41% of them. The transition to the NBA distance should not be a problem for Nesmith, who shows a lot of range in his shots. He's a very complete shooter. He can score from the dribble, and above all, he moves very well without the ball, being able to create spaces in the rival defense. He has no problems in shooting on the move. Since the record is available, 1992-93, in the NCAA, there were only 2 players who averaged over 20 points in a season, shooting over 50% in triples, minimum 100 attempts. Nesmith and another former Vanderbilt, as Bill Caffrey, who got it just in 1992-93. In the door stayed excellent shooters as J.C. Carroll, 49.8%, Wally Szczerbiak, 49.2%, and Doug McDermott, 49%. At least at the NCAA level, Nesmith added other facets to his scoring game, being strong to attack the hoop in situations where he had a clear line of penetration. Unlike other shooters, not only does he not escape contact, but he knows how to look for it with courage. He averaged 4.5 free throws in 2019-2020, with a free throwing percent of 83. In defense, he shows good concentration, posture, and intensity, although he is not a specialist. He is an intelligent player who understands his role and does not get out of it too much, on either side. He's a defender who knows how important the position is in the league, even if he wasn't born to fill it. That's smart. And that's why he's got very good defensive numbers. 16% defensive rebound percentage, almost at the pace of an insider, and averaged 0.9 blocks in 2019-2020, helped by long arms. While he wasn't a former NCAA player either, Nesmith projects himself as a role player in the NBA without the resources to excel in the role of shooter. To begin with, he lacks the best athletic ability, especially in terms of lateral agility. This can be seen with some frequency in defense and detracts from his potential in that regard. The assessment is that he could be a correct marker, but not someone of real impact. In other words, he doesn't carry everything around like an unstoppable engine. Offensively, this is a perimeter player that is limited in terms of generation and creation. All his penetrations are basic and usually in a straight line, attacking the spaces he finds in the defense. He will not create too much from the pick and roll beyond looking for his shot. As a passer, he brings very little. He averages only 1.6 assists for every 40 minutes on the court. He likes to hold the ball. Don't get too attached to it, my friend. As a shooter, there's not much to criticize him anyway, but he could speed up his mechanics. He's a bit deliberate and can give NBA defenders time to complicate his shots. His career percentage in three-pointers dropped from 41% to 36% when he faced powerful SEC teams. 19 games. As we said before, he is effective in his role, but clearly with a low ceiling. And near the hoop, he is not the safest or most explosive finisher. According to Hoop Math, he threw 56% in those situations in 2019 to 2020, even though he faced mostly low-level universities. Nevertheless, and with all this balance, his draft position is projected with a pick of 15 to 25. Is it not reasonable according to what we're seeing? Indeed, Aaron Nesmith will be eligible in the NBA draft, and although everyone sees him as a good scorer of triples, we are telling you because it's not only about that. If we go to the numbers, in the campaign that just ended prematurely, the 20-year-old averaged per game 23 points, 4.9 rebounds, and a remarkable 52% in three-point shots. He has only been able to play the second half of the season, and he surprised everyone by finishing as the best shooter in the entire NCAA. He scored 4.3 three-pointers per game, which captivated everyone who enjoyed a good show from rim to rim. Specialists from the triple are highly valued in the league, and a player who proves those numbers could be chosen in a very remarkable position. Not unimportant is Nesmith's ability to shoot long-range shots, as he tried more than 8 shots per game in the college campaign and only lasted 14 games. How can we compare him to the NBA? Duncan Robinson or Doug McDermott? Of course. Don't you think? Well, leave a comment below and we'll discuss it. We hope you enjoyed the video. We publish Monday through Friday, so be sure to press the bell icon to be notified, and don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe down below.